Hi, hello, this is Jules the Human here, and welcome to the Jules and Matt Anime Hour. I'm one of your hosts, Jules the Human, and every week we go out into the world and watch a little bit of anime, and we come back here to talk about it. And today is the final time we have to talk about Tower of God. We are going to be finishing this anime up, giving our final thoughts, rating it on a scale, and then picking a brand new anime from the anime chest. So we have a ton of anime here that are up for being the next anime that we get to watch, becomes our next whole entire life. Matt's gone. Where did Matt go? I'm gonna keep on this here until Matt joins back. Oh brother. But we're picking up a brand new anime, and let's see if that fixed it. There he is. It's like he never left. Hello, Matt.
Hello.
uh
Sorry.
I was freaking out just for me though. But we're gonna pick a brand new anime out of this chest at the end of this episode, and we're gonna be talking about that one next week. But today I'm not alone going on this journey. I have seen him a ton in the trenches, fighting automatons and terminids. Hello, Matt Galley, my co-host. How are you doing?
Oh man, it's nice to finally come out of the creek.
Yeah, it's rough out
um,
there.
yeah, I've been playing a heck of a lot of Helldivers, man. A lot of fun. But yeah, doing good. Um, I'm feeling very conflicted on final thoughts with this anime. I'm very
Definitely.
excited to pick a new one today. Very always excited to see what our new personality is going to be for the next 3 weeks to come.
Yeah, and I mean I agree, and I'm with you on this confliction of this anime in total, because there was some pretty cool stuff there. There was some interesting stuff, but it was just, for me, these last four episodes were just wild and weird, and we are definitely going to talk about it. But we're going to give it a final rating by the end of this, and we'll be done with it, put it up with all the
A
other
final
anime we've seen this
rating
season.
that the community also helped us get
For
to.
sure. Yes. And we have one that's all collective, all together. And let's just get into it because we have a lot of stuff. Episode 10, Beyond the Sadness. What happens in episode 10?
Episode 10. Kuhn reveals his intentions on helping Bam through the tower. Rack is shrunken by the test administrators. Bam meets with Kuhn and Rack to discuss how he will carry the newly paralyzed Rachel through the tower. Rachel telling Bam to abandon her after Ho's funeral, and one of the testers is revealed to be an assassin sent by Jihad to eliminate the false princess, Anak. They are cut a deal from the test director to help in the assassination. During the announcement of the test results, with Rachel failing, Bam reveals that he is an irregular in order to ask an administrator permission for Rachel to continue through the tower.
Now, these, so begins the convolution here towards the end. And I don't know if you felt it.
I definitely felt things starting to unravel in this episode when the test director is confronting an assassin sent by Jihad, and it like all these things are getting like not
It's,
confusing, but just like
well,
I don't understand the direction.
in the next episode for me, episode 11 and 12, it does get confusing for me. I'll admit it was a little confusing. But also, in this episode starts my asking why. Why are we doing this so much, this other thing so much? We have the introduction of, like you mentioned, Lo Po Pien Ren, or Ren, whoever this guy is, Yoga, who was, he was undisguised as Yoga, um come in to try and take out the Jihad princesses, which is okay, but it's like so late in the show. It's so late. We're already here in the final stretches, and it's like, w- why add all this other stuff? There was a clear line, a clear picture. It tried to paint it so well in the beginning. Got to get to the top of the tower. I don't know what it is. That's the fine MacGuffin. I'm okay with that. I'm okay
Yeah,
with not knowing the thing. But starting here is when they added so much more to it. And I was like, why is there so much? There was Little Rack, which was really cute. I
love
really
Little
like
Rack,
Little
love
Rack.
Chibi Rack.
chibi rack, which is fantastic. The whole she wanted to go see the stars, fine. I know for me that's not good enough to do for
That's like the show starts with that, right? And I'm okay with that. It says this is the story about Rachel, the girl who wanted to see the stars, and Bam, the boy who needed nothing but her. It established that episode 1, and I was okay with that. Like that's going to be the journey. Okay,
that's good
sure.
enough because that was
And
her journey.
I'm okay with my expectations being subverted when I'm watching a show. That's something that I enjoy. I enjoy it being tossed on its head. Sometimes without it feeling like it's like jumping the shark and losing the vision of the
Sure.
original direction of the show in the first place. And that's where some of the overhead of the interconnectedness of like Leto Rowe like doesn't like what the administrators, I mean the test director is doing because like the director is under this thing where it's like I'm supposed to find the people who are supposed to be a danger to the tower. That part, fine, sure,
Yeah, I was okay with that because that was part of the subverted expectations like you're talking about where
yeah,
there's like this underlying thing where the administrators are or the rankers aren't even like super on board with everything going on. I'm like, ooh, this is kind
exactly.
of cool. Like, oh, this is like some next level stuff other than the people that are just trying to ascend the tower. Now the people behind the actual tower, they're like, wait, these people don't like this. Okay, hold on, this is interesting.
But at the same time, that brings me full circle to the question of how did people who got to the top of the tower, a ranker, why are they working in the tower now? Like, what is their stake in this? Why would
Yes.
somebody care that the tower's housing somebody dangerous that's trying to climb it? And why would somebody not? Like, what is that juxtaposition between Leto Rowe and the test director that's causing them not to see eye to eye? I never understood where that was coming from. And the tension that starts to like brew up and boil over between the two of them, I just don't understand where it's coming from. And if that's to set up something in the later seasons, sure, sure, but it doesn't make for a satisfying like uh arc for this
For now,
season.
for the
Yes.
now, because like, what is it? Okay, let's say that this whole crew, all of the friends that are in this crew are trying to get to the top of the tower for whatever reason. They do it. So what? Now they're going to be rankers and they're going to come down and administer the tests. Is that their ultimate finish? Is that the ultimate ending? Because we have no concept of why somebody would want to be a ranker to help out the next people to go to the top. Nah, I don't know. There's so many questions here. The leader, who the administrator, is trying to get all things that will hurt the tower out of the tower and to take them out. Kuhn wants to take the administrator's test. There's the introduction of that. There's a different test that you can take. Obviously, there's another test that you can take, but this will get you to the top faster, and this
And
will
then
make
it's
you the
revealed that like
administrator.
Leto Rowe kind of told him about it behind the scenes.
Yes. But then only an irregular can do it. So they're just adding like arbitrary rules to make this thing work. And I'm like, what is this? Why? Why are we doing this? Finds out that Bam's irregular. They'll be led to the quickest way to the top of the tower, and he has to meet with the same being he had a contract with to make sure he's okay to do it. I don't know, man. I'm just like, I think on episode 11 is where the next episode we're going to talk about. I think at episode 11, I was just like, I'm good. I could have stopped there before episode 11. I would have been like, this is fine.
It's for those that are seasoned enough, it definitely starts to feel like the Chimera Ant arc 3.0 from Hunter x Hunter, where like just very quickly we're supposed to be latching on to characters that are being
In
introduced
concepts,
and concepts that are just falling on top of concepts that are just supposed to be, yeah, able to make sense. And in something like the Chimera Ant arc, you have this overhead narrator that's taking a very long amount of time to kind of give context to everything that's that's happening. I know Jules is seeing the
I fucking
airstrikes in
hate.
his
Yeah,
vision right now, the 1,000-yard stare.
just
But in something like this, it's kind of doing those types of things and then just expecting you to roll with it, which if that works for people, that's totally cool. But when you're looking for something with yeah, with like substance, with one thing that we talk about a lot is a sense of place, and I never get a sense of place in this show. These last like 4 episodes,
I
it's
have
just
no
like
clue.
everywhere somewhere.
I have
Like
no clue
I
how
everywhere somewhere.
anything relates to anywhere else.
During the crown game, it's like this controlled the throne room, everybody's in a cage, like, okay, cool. But by this point, with when we get into the next episode, like you said, with the underwater hunt, like it's just not very clearly defined as to, yeah, the sense of place with that
And it gets
test.
even worse in episode 11 because we have the underwater hunt part 1. What happens in episode 11 of Tower of God?
So the administrator approves Bam's request for Rachel to take the final test of the floor. I think it's the floor. The rules of the underwater hunt are explained as the test begins, and Princess Yuri's group finally catches up to the testers. The wildcard bull monster appears just as the net begins to form over Bam and Rachel. Kuhn is shown to be constantly working in his lighthouse on a plan. Bam reveals his meeting with the administrator, and the bull is shown to be controlled by Jihad's assassin, who corners both the princesses Anak and Endorsi.
I just don't care. I just don't care. I wish I cared. I just don't care. They're trying to explain what this administration test is. What how does this mean anything? How does this make
And it's
any
like it's
sense?
also a setup. We're supposed to be like, the whole retroactively spoiler, it was a setup by the test director to try to make those events happen the way it did, but still in the moment I just feel a very big disconnect between this part of the show and everything that we've watched before this.
Because one, it could have probably been remedied a little bit better if we understood what these tests are supposed to do, but we don't get a clear definition of what the test is supposed to do
To climb the tower.
because to climb the tower, because we get the introduction of the administration test, right? That's the one that's going to get you to climb the tower the fastest. But then now the people that help them to Bam and Rachel will be known as helpers, and that's bad. They don't want to be
Helpers
seen
of
as
an
that.
irregular.
Helpers of an irregular. They don't want to be seen as that. But if a single, let's say this was a different situation where it was only one person that took the administrator's test. If it wasn't Bam, Bam was the one that was making friends with everybody. If it was somebody random that essentially was everybody was an enemy to each other, somebody not like Bam, it would have just been him in the bubble by himself, free for all, trying to stay alive. Is that how, in a perfect world, how the test should have gone? But they all chose to help him so that
Well,
they can push him through.
what I got is that, the if you take this test, you'll be able to climb a lot faster, but you'll be branded as somebody who worked with an irregular.
Who cares?
Yeah.
We never get why that's bad.
Well, the
There's
only
no
other irregular that we've seen, they
is a
teased that, and
badass.
then we never even saw them. So I don't under that. That's definitely now a Chekhov's gun of season one, where they tease
Yeah.
this huge character irregular, and then they never do anything with that.
I really want to
Unfortunately,
know if people I've heard like this anime. I don't know why. I think it's because of the characters, and I'm okay with that. But the introduction of the bull, the whole process of this net dolphin queen, this whole thing where they have to fight these little goblin dudes, the other people outside somewhere, because they have this other little this huge animal that sucks them up and then it stops them from doing this. It's just all this jargon that's just all explained in one.
I will say I did see somebody say that in the last episode when like Kun and Rak are doing that fake argument and everybody's like, "When are you guys gonna stop that fake acting?"
Yeah.
In the manhwa, everybody actually fell for it and thought Kun was like totally just like out for himself at that point, and it
Hmm.
put this really big like mark on Kun as to like everybody disliking him for thinking that way, but he convinced everybody who were ready to like abandon helping an irregular, reminding them that it's Bam, the friend that they've come to know
Hmm.
come to know. But in the anime they decided to change that. And it makes me wonder like what else has been changed like from manhwa to
Sure.
anime that might be like taking away from the impact of the show, because that's
Yeah.
I feel like something where it's like, well, then why'd you even include that moment anyways? Like just
Just to change it to be just
exactly.
silly. I mean,
Yeah.
that's fine. It was silly. Um, the director prepped all of this as a plan. Ren shows up to confront Anak. Anak gets hurt. Ren is controlling the bull all along, and this is all put together to take down Anak and Bam, I'm assuming. But okay. I did not like this episode. This episode was the one where I was like, "Oh, do I really have to watch the rest of it?" Because it was just a lot. And it's like I know we're setting up for the next season and stuff, but this just seems so different than what we've come
Yeah.
from. And it's like takes it out of everything and brings all these characters together, adds a bunch of new ones and gives some like sloppy ending. What I feel like is a sloppy ending, adding all these other things that maybe people really liked it in the manhwa, but it wasn't. If it wasn't like started from the beginning of the manga or the anime, then why just shoehorn it in towards the end? And it was just it made it such a less product.
And made it feel rushed for sure.
Yeah. Um it continues. Episode 12, Underwater Hunt Part 2. What happens in episode 12?
Yuri arrives to contest Jihad's assassin as the testing grounds become flooded with enemies. The spear bearer is being saved by Ladaro. I'm butchering that. Laro. The assassin attempts to threaten Yuri, and in response, she uses them to showcase her strength. Kun's strategy is finally revealed as boars pour out of the worms just in time for him to be reunited with a sibling. The test director showcases a lack of urgency to Yuri's wayfinder at the fact an assassin is in the testing grounds as Yuri's bodyguard pounds them into the ground, leaving the last words that they sent the bull after Bam, who takes a last stand against it and survives. In celebration with Rachel, she takes the opportunity to push him off their platform into the abyss.
This episode I did like a little bit more than the last one.
Yeah, more than the
I
last one.
sure what
On a very high
little bit more
bar.
than um it was super complex. Let's talk about the actual like game of what's happening. It was super complex in the last episode about trying to set it all up. The payoff was cool because we see Coon in a strategic light where he actually made all this happen, and we didn't know, kind of like in Code Geass, we don't know until the very end, until it's realized that what he was actually doing was bringing all the little
But
guys.
all the
And
hits are there.
yeah, and they're all there, they're sucking them up, and they're like, oh my god, what's going on? It's like, yes, Coon was the one that masterminded this. That was cool. I like that moment. The way we got there wasn't the greatest, but that moment was pretty dope. Another moment I do like, what's this princess's name? I forgot her
Yuri.
name. Yuri. I really like Yuri. I like her fighting. The again, I'm conflicted. When they actually fight and when they actually do some action stuff, I really like it. It
Yeah,
seems
it looks good.
impactful, looks pretty good. Um, I like the way that it's just a cut off, like there's actual like blood and like paint, and then they cut it off to something else. And I like that like artistic style. I'm like, oh, that's crazy. Like it goes a little further than I think they're gonna go, and then they cut it off to the next scene. I'm like, oh my god, like oh, I
Yeah.
felt that one, or like the
Sometimes more is
punches.
less. Yeah.
Yes, the punches, the
Or I'm sorry, less
impacts.
is more.
Less is more. Yes, and I really do like that. I like that sort of stuff. Um, love Rack. Rack is the MVP for sure. He's my favorite of all of the characters in here. um the whole side story with Anak and all that, and then the group that are trying to get Bam there, and then we get the introduction of a coon, another coon sibling, and then we don't see them ever again, and I'm just like, where did he come from? What is he doing? It
How do
just
you get in
presents
the
more
tower?
questions. How did he get in the tower? And he's an outcast as well. They're just giving us a bunch of info to, I guess, set up season 2, which is fine, but you're not done with season 1 yet.
Yeah.
Let's close this little bit off. I don't know, how do you feel about this so far?
No, yeah, that's exactly that's exactly how I feel, where it feels like they're before I'm finished eating like my salad, they're like, "Okay, here's your entree." And I'm like, "Okay, I wasn't done with my salad.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna finish," and I like take another bite in my salad, and they're like, "Oh, and here's your dessert." And I'm just like, I just want to finish my salad. Like,
yeah, for
just
sure.
stop loading me up when I'm enjoying what we've started. I'm
Yeah,
enjoying where we're at, and I like the idea of it building into something more. But if you're not going to let me enjoy this bit and you just want me to hop on board to the next bit, I'm not going to be super happy about it. I'm not going to
for
be
sure.
thrilled. I'm going to feel like I've been rushed. And that's how this feels. It feels like it's rushing you to care about certain things. And it's not like, again, that's as this whew, that's critiquing it as a setup for a future season and
Mhm.
not as a a definitive ending where we've done anime before that have only been 12 episodes long that have been able to give us a very wholly satisfying experience and close it out by episode 12. But here we are at episode 12 of this anime, one more episode to go, and we're just still being fed info and not feeling like we're getting answers to questions that have already been long posed.
Yes, for sure. Because at this point, I completely have the climbing the tower out of my head. There's so much other stuff clouding when that's all I want to know what's happening. And that's all I care about right now is them getting to the top of the tower, finding out what it is. And you give that to me, you give me that golden nugget, like, ah, I want to know this. All this other stuff's just in the way because I want to know who gets to the top. And we are setting up another season when I was like, oh, I thought we would get there. I thought we were here, but we're just beginning
And I
apparently.
mean, let's compare it to something else like that I don't have experience watching, but I have seen much from the fandom. One Piece, where there's the thing, the thing that everybody wants, the One Piece, and the show's able to string a very long amount of episodes about it over time, but always kind of have the characters working in that direction towards that goal that's been set from the first episode. Um, Whether or not all the arcs completely push them that direction is to be said, but that like overhead thing is always in mind. And I feel like the show, like you said, it starts off about climbing the tower, and yeah, somewhere along the way it's not about climbing the tower anymore. It's about like friendship and making bonds and stuff like that, and I'm totally okay with that. I'm totally okay with, again, the subversion of expectations being a thing that's going to happen, but it doesn't feel like it's trying to subvert my expectations. It feels like it's just becoming a different show, and it's forgetting everything that it already set up before.
Forget everything you know.
Because when you subvert somebody's expectations, that you have to make a play on what they were expecting, and it feels like it's like, oh, you were expecting that. No, it's actually this. It's something completely different. You thought it was going to be a fantasy adventure, and it's actually a drama romance. And I'm just like, or I don't even know what you'd call it
Or
by
you
the end of the 15th
Yeah,
episode.
or you expect them, Bam and Rachel, to make it to the top of the tower and everything's all nice and fine, and then Rachel pushes Bam off in a wild move here, and I
A
want to get
wild
your
move, but
thoughts.
I can't say that I was, like, surprised or caught off guard.
Mm,
She very has very well telegraphed that she just does not want his presence.
for sure.
Here she asked him to, like, abandon her, and I'm like, whether or not that's just, like, coming from a
Uh,
place of guilt or spite or whatever,
she
bro,
don't
she
want you,
said it.
bro.
She said that with her whole chest. She looked at
Yeah,
you in the eyes and said, like, "Abandon me, cause like, I that there's nothing here, bro." And
she
he
don't
was
want
just
you,
like,
Bam.
"No, well, what do you mean?
Yeah.
You patted me on the head."
Oh man, sorry, Bam, but it doesn't make you
"Sorry,
feel.
Bam." Yeah,
Yeah, I
but
really don't feel bad for him
no.
because this was telegraphed, like you said, and we
Yeah.
kinda I was like, I didn't know it was coming, but I'm like, "Okay, I get it." And I'm like, "Well, that's a."
The fact that she stood up, I was
Yes,
like,
more
that
about
caught me off
her.
guard, but when she pushed him, I was just kinda like, "Mm, yeah."
The thing I love is that he was falling throughout the entire credits.
I did
That was
like
the
that.
best.
It made me
He
sit with
he
it.
he just kept falling, and I was like, "Bro, that's a long way down, dude." All of the credits, but here we are, episode 13, Tower of God. It is the title, and that is the title for episode 13. The final episode, season 1, Tower of God. What happens?
Rachel is recontextualized as a character as we witness her moments arriving at the tower. Being called out that she does not wish to see the stars, she wishes to be a star. Witnessing Bam arrive and move up through the tower, she is denied entry and given a task if she wishes to climb herself, be the one to end Bam's life. We are shown her internal point of view growing to envy Bam as he continues to grow stronger, make friends, and climb the tower, to the point where she shoved him into the abyss. Leto Rowe announces his death before confronting the test administrator on their involvement, leading to him being fired. Kun and the rest decide to carry on Bam's memory by climbing the tower with Rachel before revealing Bam to still be alive and kicking, now determined to climb in order to find his own answers.
It was an interesting way to start off the final episode of season 1 because we almost do a complete half of the episode is all flashback sort of from Rachel's point of view. Um Rachel, I'm curious because I don't we don't really know what happened before she went to the tower, but apparently it doesn't matter. I don't know how long do you think her and Bam were together? Because we know she taught him English kind of. We know she found him underneath some
It couldn't,
rubble.
like, just from the point that we see them meet to the point that they're at now, right as they enter the tower, it couldn't have been more than like a year to 3 tops is stretching it, I think, because they don't look like to
Very
have,
different.
yeah, aged.
I would say a year at most.
Yeah.
So apparently none of that stuff matters because all she wants to do is see the stars, and that's conviction. And now that we see it in a different light, we see that as a maniacal, she's sort of like wanting to get it at any means necessary by whoever, it doesn't matter. And she finds out that she's not as special as she thinks she is because Bam is just so much better at her, better at everything than her, and she starts to feel jealous and fear and all these stuff. Like it's cool. I'm fine with Rachel's character now. Rachel
Yeah.
going through this whole arc in the last episode is a little weird. To do it all at
I
the
mean,
end, it was a cool reveal.
as a reveal, I think it's cool, and I do think that that's kind of one of the things that it has going for it,
Yes,
as an interesting setup into the next season is that, like, we haven't had a very clearly defined antagonist until this point, but I
sure.
think that this is really the show setting up Rachel to be the antagonist of this show to some degree,
And
which I'm
yes,
totally okay with. I think that's really cool. That's a way that the show has successfully subverted my expectations because I thought that she was being set up to be it was set up to be a reclaim love thing, but it's set up to be like, no, she's gonna double backstab you because she's willing to do whatever it takes to get what she wants. And the fact that Do you think that if she wasn't given that as a test, that her feelings would have developed differently? Or was it the fact that she knew that she had to kill him at some point made her develop that over time
I
to
think,
come to that? Because she was like, my body wouldn't listen to me. It didn't
yeah,
like she, a couple times she had that chance, wouldn't take it.
sure. I do think that it is the circumstance that made her this way, and then it changes her internally to start looking for those things at as why was he the chosen one? Because the administrator clearly says like you weren't the one we were looking for. I want to do away with you or whatever, and this is the guy. This is the guy that we chose, and or
But
he
then it's
broke
just
through.
like, would Bam have not passed that first test if it was not for Princess Yuri giving him the Black March in the first
Yeah,
place? Like,
and it's
I
lucky.
just
I
I
don't
don't
know.
know.
Well, because he has powers innately. So apparently he,
I
as well
guess.
as getting lucky, as
Is
well as
that why the
pulling,
goddess liked him?
yeah.
The goddess
Um
of the Black March? Because like,
mm,
did Yuri give it to him as a prank? Like, "Oh, the goddess isn't gonna like you," and then he was using it.
Probably, and then he can use it. Yeah, because he has nobody understood or nobody knew that he had this other power of Shinsu in him. But it's so odd that there was just another little special test that this character can just do, can just be like, "Well, let's see what you can do. Let's try and get rid of him. If you can get rid of him, you can climb the tower." And it's like, what is it? What are these games? What is this whole life?
He,
What are
like, said
they
in recognition of your stupidity or something like that.
what are these powerful beings that just have this power over the, I'm assuming, deceased or passed on or chosen? I don't know how to call the regulars because we still don't really know what it was. Because at first, the beginning of the show, I thought Rachel was dying and then she was gonna pass on and then go to Tower of God. And that was her final test. And if she died, then she died. But if she lived, she got to see the stars or whatever in the tower. But now it's like, how is this another dimension? Is this, there's so many questions that I still have, but I'm fine with not knowing them because there's just too many. I just don't care. There's
I
like,
mean,
again, I agree
too
that the
full
Rachel
plate.
stuff, yeah, the Rachel stuff was really good. I like the turn. I like, it made sense for me in my head. I was like, okay, I understand what she's doing, why she was doing it, and the reasoning behind it, which is fine. It was kind of cool that she gets one revive or whatever, and it was that the big guy that was like taking care of her or whatever. Um, she wants to climb the tower more than anything, knowing that doesn't matter who gets in her way, that she's gonna do it, and by doing that, has to kill Bam or be the end of him. Um, there's a lot here because then they get into the other stuff with Leto Rowe, who has reasons to go after the administration, and he quits. And now there's this whole other side story, which is fine, which is cool. But in the last episode to set everything up for season two, I don't know. All of this is like in a weird context because this is the last episode we have for the show so far. Um,
Mhm.
it is clearly setting up for something bigger and for it to be like a long story, but I don't know if there was enough in these first 13 episodes for me to want to do it because then it's going to be another floor on the tower doing some contrived thing and then we got to do that thing. But um
The biggest yeah, the only intriguing thing to me is, like, how whatever is gonna happen whenever Bam is revealed to be alive and, Rachel has to answer for
mhm.
him still being
The-
alive, like,
sure.
that's the only answer I could want out of a season 2 at this point. Everything else has just become too fluffy and, like,
I
makes me just not just wanna have the whatever this clear goal is for this show. Whatever the main thing is, like, I'm okay with getting to that answer, but again, it's like I don't think I want it enough to sit through an entire second season.
I do like the way that they set up Rachel to be this antagonist, like you said, because she is smarter, or the way that it was set up was a smart way so that she can automatically have a reason to deny that she was the one that did it to Bam, that the bull did it. And now all of Bam's friends and all of the things Bam worked on are now instantly passed over to her because now they want to make her get to the top because that's what Bam would have wanted. And I like that outcome
Yeah.
that she was the one to turn everybody, and now they're all for her, and now she has all of his power, and now she's the star, quote unquote, because she's mortally wounded as they know her, and now she has a way to the top, and that's gonna be everybody helping her and doing everything they can to make sure she's the one that does it. If nobody else goes through, if nobody else makes it alive, she's going to be the one to make it to the top. Now, like you were saying, the confrontation between her and Bam when he eventually makes it to the top or reaches them or whatever, because he's being trained by another character on the side now that we saw in passing for a little while, and that was a cool part too.
Who we
But
saw match Endorsi, who has been shown to probably be the strongest fighter in the show.
oh, Yuri,
Uh
I would say Yuri is better.
yeah, sure. Actually, yeah, you're right, Yuri.
Mhm.
Forgot that we got to episode 12 with her, but
Yeah,
yeah, other than Yuri, whoever I
I
don't
don't know.
know if they ever get a name, but
The one in
the
spandex
person, yeah, the one in spandex, the full body spandex, they
will now
were a match
train
for
Bam.
Endorsi, and they're training Bam, so that's
And at the
promising.
yeah, and at the end, they're trying to hook you. At the end of the episode, they're trying to hook you there because they show Bam at the top or at the top of a mountain where he's older now and he has longer hair.
Was that what that was?
Yes, I think that's what it was. I think
Yeah,
it was
I
Bam.
thought it was a different character. I was like, "Who's this?"
It could have it could have been the guy that we talked about that was another irregular. That could have been him where he was the only other irregular and he's like super powerful, but it makes more sense if it was Bam and they're like, let's see how he gets there. You know what I mean? This is the end. This is the end result. This is, Super Saiyan 5 or whatever. And uh let's see how Bam gets to this point and he's gonna do it. And we're gonna follow his story the whole way. I won't be there, but somebody will. So that's the end. We reached the end of Tower of God. I really wanted to like it.
I did
Uh,
too. I wanted to like it so much more than where we ended up.
we rate our animes on 3 different categories on animation, storytelling, and vibes, and we put it up on the board of other animes we've already seen in season 2. We've already done a season 1. If you haven't seen that, go check out all the other episodes. But Matt, what would you give Tower of God on animation?
Animation, I'm giving it an A because I thought the animation was pretty good. It had a definitely like a unique art style that it was going for. It felt very ethereal at times. The fight scenes were really good and well enough choreographed that I could kind of follow the action, and the effects were really cool when there were fight scenes going on. But the character designs themselves are just very like appealing in a like yeah in just like a very hand drawn way where every frame of every character never feels like it's pulled from um character default standing frame A and stuff like that. It always feels very unique. The
Mhm.
shots are well composed as well. um keeping the like, if there's one thing that I could say about the show, the pacing and the flow of scene to scene pacing works very well thanks to the animation as well. Where would you put the animation?
I think it was about a B. I don't really like the opening credits stuff. They could have done more with that. I liked the colors. It was really good. The animation is cool. I don't know if it was super my cup of tea. Like you said, it is very stylized and it is unique, but I don't think I really enjoyed it as much. So it is just a little bit above average for me. I mean, the colors are great. I love that, but still, it was just I don't know. It does give that hand drawn, but I kind of want like my anime to be a little bit more touched up. I don't know. So it was a little bit above average. So storytelling. Where would you put storytelling for Tower of God?
Storytelling, I'm giving it like a C, like a C minus even. I really just have a lot of problems with the storytelling from episode 1 to 13. There's some really good strides in there at times where everything flowed really well. Everything was making the pacing of the flow of information and exposition was really good. But then in these last 4 episodes, it really started to feel like it was bogging itself down with setting up more for the next season as opposed to giving this first season a satisfying close, even though we do get a good twist with the reveal of Rachel and her test to take Bam's life that's been there the whole time. I enjoy that reveal a lot, but it really doesn't make up for everything that we went through to get there. Um,
Yeah.
where would
Um,
you put the storytelling?
it's like a D minus or an F, man. I just did not like this. At one point, I was about done. I do like the characters though, which really sucks because I do like some of these characters. I don't like what they're doing, but they do seem true to themselves, so that's fine. But the situations in the way that there's so many questions to what actually is happening just has me going on faith, and there's not enough supplied here for me to be faithful in the show in what it's doing. It's just kind of a lot, and storytelling just I don't know, even in that last arc, it just really hit me the wrong way because of all the stuff that they were trying to put in at the end, new characters that we were seeing, all this other stuff, and I just wanna see these little guys. I just wanna see Rack eating some chocolate bars. Like, just keep giving me that, keep doing that, and you did kind of at the end, but, like, that's what I was holding on to. The whole introduction of Coon's brother, sibling, that stuff, it just tried to take too much. Try to include everything. It's kind of like the manhwa person was like, let's include everything in this arc to get to this point, but it's like 20 volumes and we have to set all of these other things up for the rest of the show to make sense. But we got to do it in 13 episodes. And it's like, well, okay, that's cool. Well, here's this character really quickly, and here's this character, and this is why they're doing it. Let's do this. And it was just a
Every
lot.
second spent on something is a second that's not being spent on something else. And if you
Yeah,
put up a pie chart, it's probably very diced up as to how much time this show took with all of its different little things. Where I feel like if it had drawn some dedication to the just into the main overarching climbing the tower aspect, it would have made for a more satisfying experience for a first season. And then from there, you go into season 2 where it gets turned on its head and everything starts to feel like
sure.
it's not actually as it is after the little bits and crumbs have been there in the first season, as opposed to completely doing it from episode 1 to episode 13 in the first season
Because there's so much to the tower
that I want to
that
know about. It's
yes,
it's
that
it's intriguing.
yes, for sure. There's so much to the tower that is interesting and intriguing, but they don't give us enough to start at the beginning and for us to believe that these people just want to climb to the top because that's what they've heard is the answer to everything and all the answers forever and whatever you want, and it's just a goal post that they have to hit. But all this other stuff about the administrator test, about the different kinds of classes the people can be in and them working as teams and all that stuff, it's just like they probably could have done that all at the beginning and then let us go and then be like, oh, this is what they were talking about, oh, this is the thing. And I would have been fine with being front loaded at the first couple episodes with all this information. Well, we heard that there's like an administrator test. You could have done that in the beginning too and be like, oh, that's what he's going to do. We didn't know that only irregulars can do that. Okay, now they're
It
going to do that.
suffers a similar problem that Danganronpa suffered, where it
Okay.
just didn't I feel like, where it just didn't give its core concept enough time to breathe before it really started to try to do the wild, like, plot twisty type stuff that we should be getting out of like, I mean, I hate out of other shows that have done it very better, that span multiple seasons with
Mhm.
big reveals.
Yeah, because some of the reveals and some of the twists and turns in this were fine. They were good. It was just everything around that and the time that it let it breathe was the issue that I had. They didn't let some of the stuff happen in a timely manner when everything was just crammed into an episode or two, and it
Hmm.
just wasn't great. Vibes, where would you rate the vibes?
The vibes, I'm gonna give it a B for vibes. I liked the characters. Every character that we actually got backstory for, I did like. Every character that was fleshed out. Kun, Anak, and Dorsey, Ho, they're all fleshed out with a backstory reveal, and
Mhm.
I thought they were all very intriguing characters.
Yeah.
I like Yuri for her display of just incompetence in navigating the tower and trying to retrieve her sword that she accidentally like gave out. Like that's just so funny to me.
Mhm.
But then she's actually super strong when she gets into the fights. Bam's likable enough as a character with his motivation, and then even though I don't like Rachel, I think, in my opinion, that it is good writing that I don't like her. Like it is not.
Definitely.
I don't like her for the right reasons,
Mhm.
and I want to see her get her comeuppance. I don't just
Definitely.
want to see her disappear. Like I want her to stay. I want her to do more bad things, and then I want her to get what she deserves because I think that'd make a satisfying way to move forward with
Yeah.
the story because she's turning into an antagonist.
Mhm.
That's about it in terms of vibes. Every that like, and I really do like the characters, but like I don't. Even though the settings are very cool and ethereal, I don't enjoy the show as a whole. I don't like the place that we're spending time with these characters, and I
Mhm.
think that the tower just it's because of the way that the show is being played out, but I don't enjoy seeing all the different environments of the tower and not having a sense of place and just feeling like there's no sense of time. Oh, Bam was unconscious and like, oh, he needs to get up for the test this many days, that many, and then that many, and this, and
It just feels in the air,
it,
in the
yeah,
clouds.
which sometimes can serve a narrative fine, but it's just like when you're trying to give a sense of urgency narrative, like we got to climb the tower. I really feel like a sense of place and a sense of time would have served the show a lot more. So yeah, the characters made me enjoy the time with the show because they were the ones that were fleshed out. I enjoyed a lot, but other than that, they really carried it. They really carried it for me. I get Rack and his chibi
Yeah,
forms as well.
definitely.
Where would
Uh,
you put the vibes, Jules?
Vibes are like at a C, C, C minus or something. I agree with everything you're saying. I like the characters. Characters were the biggest part for me. What is really interesting though that is if I see these characters out of context, if I see like a fan art of one of these characters, I will instantly know who they are. So they did a really good job at making everybody feel individualized and have their own look and have their own personality, sort of. It's just the way that the story was going. And I just don't like the situations that were put in for something that I still haven't gotten a solid climax for. It was sort of a twist at the end, and that's fine with Rachel, but I still am leaving season one with so many more questions where so many questions that there's so many of them that I just feel like I don't care. I don't need this. I don't want to continue this story because in season two, what it's going to be the same thing. And I know we set it up really well for season two, but if it's the same as what we've already seen, I don't have a whole lot of faith. It's faith based in this viewing of this season and faith based going forward and like, oh, okay, I'm going to go off of what they tell me. Here it is. Oh, and there's this other thing. Okay, let me just agree and go on, and it just pulled me too much. It pulled at my strings, and I'm like, hold on, wait, what are we doing here? What's going on? This is about the fifth thing that I'm just going off of just trust me, bro, for. And now I'm just like, this is a lot. This is too much, and there's too much going on and too many different threads that are being pulled here. So about a C negative for vibes on this. So that is how we rated the Tower of God. Please let us know in the comments if you're watching later, or let us know in the Discord how you thought about this anime. But we have a final rating, all of our cumulative scores put up together, and the final score for Tower of God is Tower of God is our first C. We're just filling it all out. We're just filling out the entire board so
See
far.
what I mean?
To see what I mean? Ranked C for Tower of God, right in the middle. This is the midpoint, I guess, right? Yeah. So
Yeah.
we have all these characters. I kind of wanted to get like just a face pretty much of everybody, and this that'd be kind of cool as a collage at the end. Um, so there it is. Claire says, glad to know I made a smart
Oh,
call
Claire.
skipping it. We
Oh,
watch
Claire.
it so you don't have to. So there it
Exactly.
is. It is a C. That's where he is. There's Bam in the middle. Any final thoughts before we say goodbye to Tower of God forever?
Should have set up all the characters in the first season and made season 2 a huge tournament arc. Would have been better for it.
Tournament arc. Yes. But
This is my shonen brain.
yeah.
No, I really did want to like this show. I liked the characters, I liked the setup. It just the execution left so much to be desired, in my opinion. And that's unfortunate.
There's something interesting about really bad but mediocre. No thanks. Yeah, I just really
And that's the
think
thing, it felt very mediocre. It felt like I was just meandering through, like, the midway point where, like, things it started to pique my interest about a bunch of things, and then instead of, like, capitalizing on that interest, it's like, "Oh, but can I get you interest about a bunch of this stuff?" And again, it goes back to my whole salad allegory.
something we haven't talked about is that's very interesting is that Crunchyroll put their name on this. Like Crunchyroll were the ones I'm assuming were the ones that put money on this so
It's
that
very high
it can be
rated.
made.
It's very high rated. This show's very well received and very high
So was the
rated.
one that was an F. I mean, maybe we're weird. Maybe we're just not in on the good
You come
stuff.
here to get our opinions, not the
Yes.
internet's
And
opinions.
apparently our opinions are better because there's a bunch of people that really like bad anime apparently. I did not know that in the world. When we started this, there's some people that like some bad anime. So, oh brother, that's the end. Let's cleanse the palate. That's the end of us talking about Tower of God. And now Matt will be choosing the next anime that we watch together. If this is your first time watching the show, we rate the animes and then we go and pick another one. And some of these are put in by you. Some people have put 500 bits on Twitch, or you can, if you'd like, $5 super chat on YouTube. We are live on YouTube as well. So 500 bits on Twitch will get you a anime chest anime. Just tell us which one you want and put it into the chest. Or the $5 super chat, same rules apply. So one of these anime are what we're going to pick for the next 3 weeks. Dan says it also getting a season 2 this year. I guess it was definitely an anime that we watched. So the next anime that we are gonna dive into for the next 3 weeks, I'm pretty sure we're gonna watch the season 1
Death Parade.
Death Parade. Whose is that?
CZ.
That was CZ's Death
We got a
Parade.
CZ pick.
CZ pick.
First season 2 CZ pick.
First season 2 CZ pick. Death Parade. Pretty sure it's on Crunchyroll. Watch episode 1 through 4 of Death Parade before next Wednesday. And yeah, we're going to talk about it. We would love for you to watch the animes with us. If you've never seen it, that's okay because I've never seen it. Pretty sure Matt's never seen it.
Never seen this
I
one.
know nothing about this anime. So that's part of the fun is that we all watch it together and we all decide and have opinions and we want to share them. And that's where we come here and talk about it. It's kind of like a book club for some anime. So Death Parade episode 1 through 4 by next week, and that's our new personalities for the next couple weeks. We're going to talk about it
Jules the
next week.
Parade and
Jules the Parade.
Death Galley.
Death Galley, easy one. Matt, whenever you're not talking about anime on the internet, where can they find you?
You can follow me on my Twitch at Matt_Galley or on my socials, just add an ITS at the front. You can follow me on Twitter, X,
Wait,
whatever
is
it's
your
called.
Twitch Matt_Galley? I thought it was Matt Galley.
Oh, it's Matt_Galley.
Really? Okay, well
Yes.
then I gotta change that. That's my fault.
Oops, I didn't even notice. And yeah, on my other socials, just add an ITS at the front at ITS Matt_Galley. Yeah, my original Twitch handle was not Matt Galley, but when I changed it to Matt Galley, the Matt Galley was already taken. So
Oh,
if you work for Twitch and you're hearing this, give me my handle.
you know what happened? My TikTok was JulesTheHuman_, and I messaged a long time ago when I first started TikTok. I messaged the person that had Jules the Human, and they were like, I don't think I have a TikTok, but it's literally you and you're linking to your Instagram. And I messaged them and whatever. But I finally got Jules the Human on TikTok because apparently that TikTok got eliminated or something. So you can maybe message the Matt Galley on Twitch and be like, yo, can I have that? can I get
Last
that?
online 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Can I have that?
Yo, bro, you still going live? I'm still waiting. Claire says, I'm imagining skeletal floats and dancing zombies. I have no clue what Death Parade. Maybe it's the My Chemical Romance theme. And when the stars align, you may even see Matt live.
That's exactly what I say. When the stars align.
You can find me on all the things Jules the Human, Jules the Human on all social media. I am not streaming on Twitch anymore. You may be watching on Twitch right now, but I usually stream on YouTube now. I'm streaming on my YouTube, youtube.com/Jules the Human. I have a ton of members videos. If you are a Twitch sub that wants to go to YouTube and still keep like the emotes and all that stuff, you can do that on YouTube and get a ton of videos. I just posted right before this. I posted like 4 videos for members only. They're going to be coming out later this week. There is a video on my YouTube dropping as soon as we're done with this podcast. So go check it out. It's a reaction for the Borderlands trailer that came out today. But all my stuff is going to be on YouTube.
Oh, brother.
Uh,
not your YouTube,
yeah.
but more video game media that hopefully doesn't get butchered.
Borderlands. Well, you can see my reaction right after this. But yeah, I also have a tier that's only I added a tier that's $3.99. That's only for sub badges and emotes. You won't get the extra content or extra videos or anything. But if you just want to have the little Twitch emotes and the little Twitch subs, you can do that for $3.99. That's less. That's less than what you pay on Twitch, and I get more for it. So like YouTube is
Twitch subs just got super expensive.
YouTube is
like
pretty
$8
cool.
now.
I got for 10 subs, I got 30 something dollars. And I was like, excuse me? Anyways, Death Parade. Follow me on YouTube, follow Matt, all that stuff. Death Parade next week, 1 through 4. And we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.